everybody. Welcome to the afternoon of E3 Coliseum, and this is a continuation of a discussion that Donald and I started last year about storytelling across screens, and this is such an awesome duo. Chad, of course, just directed John Wick 3, which is a pretty good movie, right?
Yes.
And Donald, of course, worldwide creative director at Epic, and has put together such amazing partnerships with Fortnite, and also, just the way these things turn up in the game are incredible. We'll get to that. But first of all, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this idea and this theme of storytelling across screens, because, obviously, like what you do and what Donald does, people like us love these properties and love what we can do. But I think it's been really interesting to see how these collaborations have developed between sort of, different fields that respect each other. And specifically with like John Wick and Donald, I know this is something that you guys have been talking about and we're working together on for a long time at a creative level, right? This wasn't just like a marketing partnership. And maybe if you could start with you, Donald, talk a little bit about like John Wick and Chad, and like how did you identify this as something cool that you wanted to do?
Well, I mean, I think it's that it all starts with, is it cool?
Right.
Like, would 12-year-old me be like just crazy excited to see something like this? Like, to me, that's the litmus test always. And so I'm a massive fan of the John Wick movies, and I think that of what they're like, just the voice they have in film today, and what they were doing with both, what Chad's doing with action, but also with like world building. And it just seemed like, we were just like, my tiny list of like, if I could work with anyone ever, it would be this. And so it just started from a creative standpoint of, could we do something awesome? And luckily Chad was into it.
Well, and plus I think the fans is like, they sort of had it wasn't the John Wick skin, but people sort of thought John Wick was in Fortnite anyways, right?
Yep.
It was one of those ones where it's like, people were like, oh, this would be such a natural partnership. So Chad, on your end, if you guys don't know Chad's career, I mean, he's had such an amazing career, stunt, starting with, amazing stunt work, like, Keanu's stunt double in The Matrix, and, classics like that. And then the company that Chad's developed with his partners, 8711, has done so many amazing stunt sequences over the years. I've always been huge fans of these guys, like 300, those classic films, all that stuff. Chad and his group put together. Now, obviously, directing some incredible films as well. But I wanted to ask you about, from like perspective of you doing fights and choreography, like have games inspired your work over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. When you do, we call it action design. When you're designing the action, you're trying to get a point across certain points about either the character or the story. Sometimes we'll call it a journey. So rather than stopping the story, doing a car chase or kung fu fight or something, you try to learn something about the character, about the story or plot, or at least the journey when you're designing the action. Hopefully when you see, you've always seen that scene in a lot of the action movies. You want to tell the audience something about the super badass guy they're doing. So you'll have the two CIA guys sit down and go, look, Bob was a Navy SEAL, he did all this. Yeah. And we just kind of chop that out and go, well, why don't we just see Keanu Reeves kicking somebody's ass? And then you're like, oh,
right,
he's a badass.
action.
We don't need to read about it. We don't need to hear about it. We don't need the exposition about it. You just see it. You learn about it. Yeah. I don't need to tell you, John Wick is great with knives. We'll just show it to you. You don't need to, he can ride a horse. We'll just show it to you. That kind of thing. And in video games, if you look a lot, again, there's a roster on what the characteristics are, but like you're basically living with the character in that moment. You're going on the journey with them. And that's kind of the way I like to tell stories. It's like you can tell as much backstory as you want. That's great. You can tell about future predictions. It's great. But I just want to see a day in the life of somebody. Yeah. Like the Sergio Leone series, Man with No Names, like Pale Rider. You learned about Clint Eastwood as he did things. You didn't need the backstory on the preacher. Like a Kurosawa does it quite a bit. You learn about each of the 7 samurai just by watching that one scene with them. And I think that has a lot to do with the way we tell stories, or like I like to tell stories, the way a lot of video games tell stories as well.
Wow, that's fascinating. So when you were doing, when you do action scenes in films, will you ever pull like clips from games or look at like gameplay? Because I mean,
yeah, we've done that a couple times.
Wow.
We've ripped you guys off as much as
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of that, John Wick, yeah. So Donald, obviously fanboy of John Wick. How did this come about like teaming up with these guys for Fortnite?
I think you guys you saw us after John Wick 2, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's
Right.
when we first started
Wow,
talking.
so it's been a couple years, yeah.
Yeah, no, and we started early, just saying, hey, what if there was a thing we could do, and it got a lot more serious when I happened to end up in a spot where Keanu and I were together talking about some stuff, and we're like, what if this kind of made sense, and he was into it, and especially because of we have this character in Fortnite called the Reaper, which kind of, I mean, it wasn't intentional. Like, for me, we were just trying to like, no, let's just make this super awesome,
Cool.
like the Man in Black,
Yes.
right? And but he was starting to have like all these kids like come up to him,
Right.
like and all these teenagers like on the street, and they weren't doing the normal like, oh, you're Neo or you're like Fortnite guy, and he's like, what is this Fortnite thing? And then of course he's just like, that doesn't look like me. That's not me at all. He's like, we gotta do it right, And so that's when I think we met, and it just kind of, I mean, I'm biased, but like we really super hit it off, and I just thought it just really felt inevitable and made a lot of sense that we would do something together. So
I think we had just finished New York, right?
yeah, you just finished New
We
York.
just finished shooting in New York, so
Yep.
the boys came by and we showed them a bunch of the action sequences in a very raw editorial state to show them kind of what we were doing and some of that. But it was really
Which
cool.
is crazy, by the way. Like seeing, like it was raw footage that had just filmed, and there was no post, no,
But it's still real.
No sound.
Yeah.
It was real, and it is.
Yeah.
And you were showing me that the knife scene, and the three, and like it's all freaking real, man. Like they're just throwing those things, and it's just like it's crazy. It's crazy that you guys do that.
Yeah, no, I said because you
Yeah.
said,
They're-
it's
they're
like, oh, it's got to
good-
be all
they're
CG knives or something, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
They're a good cheering crowd. No, it was good. And the way they came, when all the boys came down, we showed them stuff. But it was interesting. They attacked it from a very different way. Like it wasn't just about the cool action sequences, about the character and how do we put this into it. They wanted to know about the mythology, and like action design is more than just choreography. It's like, how do you take a character? How do you take set pieces? How do you tell the story? How do you design stuff? So it's a little bit more than just a fight in a bar, a fight in a club, a fight, something like that. And they attacked it from a very intellectual standpoint, which was really attractive to Keanu and I.
Wow. And I know you got to see kind of an early cut of the film too, right, Donald?
Yeah. So like a few months after that, we came back and they showed us.
I
I
think
don't know, it was
the really long one.
Yeah, it's probably like January-ish, probably, right? And it was a little, it was probably
About 3 hours.
which I thought was awesome. It was just like
say extra action.
Yeah, there's a lot more dead people.
a lot more dead people, but no, it was great. It was just again, that's part of that process of how can we make it authentic and how do we find something that really just feels right, and it was cool.
And for you, Chad, when you think of like how you see Fortnite and the phenomenon what that is, you're building this incredible real property now in John Wick, right? I mean, it's like you're already announcing the next film. I mean, it's sort of this ongoing story. And one thing that I think is really fascinating about Fortnite is Donald is telling and his team is telling a story every day, right? And they're kind of evolving with they can go from Avengers to John Wick to all these other different properties that sort of come in this metaverse-like environment. When you look at sort of what they're doing from a storytelling perspective, can you maybe talk about how that world building contrasts with what you're doing with John Wick? I mean, you guys even have, I think there's the John Wick Hex game. I mean, there's a bunch of other things, but I'd love to get
I think it's good when you're building like a metaverse or something like that. We were talking about it earlier just backstage. When you control the margin, and you're not trying to hold on to or relinquish any pre-existing boundaries that a property may have, say a comic book or a graphic novel or a cartoon or an anime or something like that. You can kind of blow it out, and you kind of reverse engineer the best way to make it fit. In my career, when I was looking to direct, we had been offered all kinds of properties that existed. And at the end of the day, we were being slaves creatively to so many pre-existing boundaries that were just like, never mind, we'll do our own.
Yep.
John Wick kills people over puppy. Okay, great. There's really no boundaries with that. You can kind of get ninjas and ballerinas. Okay, great. Like, you can keep expanding. And I think what these guys are doing, they can take all these different elements but keep expanding out and tie it together, and then they make it work. That's the fun part. I mean, I love mythology and fables, and mythology is an ever-growing way to tell a story.
Yep.
modern urban myths grow from ancient myths, and you just keep expanding out from there. So if it's your own mythology and you're creating the mythology, and reverse engineering all the stuff that goes into the mythology, like that's a great way to tell a day-to-day story.
It's a really interesting point you make about sort of the canon of Fortnite, because, as you said, it can support so many different properties. And like when John Wick shows up, people are cool. Or like when Marshmallow does a concert, people they get it. And there are a lot of other games where it just wouldn't make sense.
Well, you're
right?
not just internal. Now you're becoming an external observer in the game.
Yeah.
It's just like anybody here in the audience. They get to see us, but we're in the game. They're in the game with it. Becomes self-observant. And that's what's so fun about it.
Let me ask you, Don. What is canon for Fortnite? Like, are there things that don't fit Fortnite, or is it so malleable as a property by design that you can kind of partner with anything?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of our goals early on. Was could we design a universe, or could we design a place? Because I think we've talked about this a little in the past. Is that we really approach that the island is the main character, right? And we treat that as the thing that's driving the propulsion forward. That's the thing that basically has like an arc, an emotional arc that you're going through, so that as things happen to the world. And even last time we talked, like the comet had just hit for the first time. We hadn't done, the rocket hadn't happened yet, and all the crazy things that we've kind of done since then that are kind of driving this place forward and allowing you, the player, to build this sense of nostalgia and kind of history for this place. But we were trying to build it in a way and with an art style that it could accept having John Wick standing next to Cuddle Team Leader, standing next to Marshmallow, standing next to, whatever, like Darth Vader if we needed to, right? And that it all kind of still works.
Yep.
And the mythology that we're building around it, that people will start to see over time, is that there is a construct and a reason why that all works in our mythology as well. Which is, I think, again, when I saw the first John Wick, like, to me, it would have already blown me away on the level of just the conceit of, the boogeyman's dog gets killed, and now he's just going to go kill everybody, right? Like, it's already the coolest thing ever. Like, you see him breaking open the cement, but then I think you just were so deft and, like, starting to layer in just these subtle notes of building your world, this crazy world of, like, what's the Continental? What is this place? What are these coins? What are these? And so it starts to feel like this very realized place, which probably wasn't at the time when we were doing stuff, but it elevated it. To me, it elevates it to a level of just this super compelling world that you want to be a part of, which is why we all can't wait for John Wick 4.
I'm curious, Chad, when you guys are thinking of these, do you sort of start with like, oh, this is a badass action sequence? Like, how can we build the story around it, or how do you layer it?
Almost. We started like, yes, we just insert badass action.
That's right.
Exactly.
No, it was more a concern about, why don't you see more badass action out there? It was more how do we justify it?
Right.
That was the big part. That's okay.
Yeah,
you have three action.
It's so cool. How do we link this?
Yeah,
into
we
an
know,
orchestra?
like the kung fu and the martial arts. Like I got Keanu Reeves. I'd worked with him all through the Matrix. I know what he can do.
Yeah.
I have our stunt team. I know what we can do. Like, okay, so how do we justify it? Like, I don't have superheroes. I don't want to do wire work. So how do you justify it? And what I was just talking about, like, we had to build a world in a situation. We figured a slow burn was best. Again, like a Leone film or a Kurosawa film. We started layering little things, and you want audience participation, just like you would in a game or anything like that. So you see these little hints. Okay, he's a solemn guy. He doesn't talk. He's good at driving a car. Then there's this one little button, and if you go back and watch the first Wick, there's all these little iconic little things that you'll see. You start seeing little things that says continent. We drop these little things to hint, so you're kind of being active. And then by the time he goes, there's so much buildup and there's so much angst in the character that you just want him to explode, and that was the tricky part. And then we did it, originally it was like, the original John Wick was like 65 years old, his dog was like 15, he died of old age. And we're like, no, kill puppy, got it, puppy gets good. And we kind of build all these catalysts to kind of get it there. But it was more about justifying and bringing you into a world let that stuff happen. So by the time you're in the second act, you've learned that there is a hidden world that would allow stuff, and we kind of blow out the color, and you blow out the production design, and then you blow out the emotionality of guys kill puppy, go kill everyone. And that was more the challenge than just shooting people in the head.
It works. And I mean, that's the thing is already when you're thinking of 4, you've announced that, and it's like I think 2 years out, right? It's like we're gonna wait a while for it. And the thing is,
I got to get working, I guess.
but what I'm interested in is like you sort of set that goalpost, whereas Donald, for you guys, obviously you're thinking further out, but you're also sort of like day to day telling stories. And I'm curious, like when you look at the rapid iteration that like the Fortnite team can do, are you envious, or what do you look at?
I'm completely jealous that they can just put stuff right in, like it's instant response. It's like going to a live show. Yeah. That's why I think in all the Wicks, if you go back and look at all the references, I mean, from Kurosawa films, Japanese animation, you see all the references. If you can see Leone's influence, you can see Bertolucci's influence. Obviously I love silent films, so you'll always see a reference up there. Like we rip off stuff from The Matrix. But I have to plan it like 2 years out.
Right.
So you're seeing all these little like odes or tributes to these films that I love, from Steve McQueen's Bullet to, to The Matrix to, I'm trying to think, Lee Marvin films, Charles Bronson films, all these things. These guys can dump it in and be up hip and now. Like I gotta go retro on everybody because I can't keep up. But that's what it's about. Like, everything that these guys love, they try to put into the game. Everything that we love about film, we try to put into the film. I think that's what's fun about it. We're both trying to design something that's an adventure, a ride, and a journey. Yep. Still in this weird, film's changing, just like TV's changing, just like video games are changing. Does a film have to be this 3-act structure that you wrap up all the ribbons and ties, or can you just leave it open a little bit? Can you let you guys decide how you want it to? Like, we've never had an intention of doing a John Wick sequel. We literally finished the first one and went, holy shit, we dodged a bullet. Maybe we'll never work again. Yeah. Then they asked us to do number 2. We're like, oh, holy shit, we worked again. Yeah. And like, we're like, oh, I guess, we'll do another one. And like, I like mythical themes. Like we deal with fate and consequence. So, when people ask me, do we mean to do a number 4? I'm sure a lot of the studio people hope we did, but like, the guy just killed 187 people, roughly. And like, so what do you want him to do?
One survived.
Ride off into the sunset like it's all going to be okay?
Right.
Like, he's fucked.
Yep. No, I said at some point, and people want the character to evolve. You don't just want
Exactly. So just like you do in game, you want the character to evolve. In TV, you want the character to evolve over arcs, over seasons. I mean, we don't see any reason why you can't do that in features. Yep. As long as the audience keeps liking the characters and liking the journey, you can keep extending that through, not trying to make these complete packages every time.
Yeah. I'm interested from like a narrative perspective. You have, here's 3 this year. You've got 4 in 2 years. You've got Donald in this game, and yes, you did a cool, LTM right around like the film launch. But is there a world where, like, in those intervening years, like something like Fortnite, you could be like, hey, how do we continue to like tell more story, or how do we sort of like build more there that builds into it? Because I think that's what sort of is missing to me now. It's like, yes, there's a 2-year wait for the film. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have, more story kind of evolve?
I think it would be great.
Donald's giving me a knowing smile.
No, I'm like Geoff,
awesome.
this is not,
go.
this is out of bounds. No, because that was one of the things that was really exciting to me. Was part of the Wick mythology is that there's not just the continental New York. There are the continentals, right? Yes. And that every major, like there's a continental in Rome, there's a continental, and what the ones we've seen a few different continentals now in the films, but in Fortnite, there's the continental in Neo Tilted, right? And I think there's all sorts of interesting things that could be done with that, and I think that it's an interesting space to explore if you're into it. But yeah.
But for you, I think is when you're thinking of the plot and story and how the bridge, right? And it's like a lot of people, we'll do a comic book or we'll do other sort of things. How much do you think about the opportunity that exists there to sort of introduce a new character, first in something like Fortnite, and then it comes to 4, or like those kind of things?
Yeah, I think for the first time, I mean, after when we were doing number 3 and we were finishing it, that's when we tried to blow the world out the most, and I think that's where we saw the most potential. Yeah. So I think maybe we weren't quite ready to explore that earlier. Yeah. But I think now having such a bigger picture and having to lay it out in order to write number 3 and now to do number 4, I think that offers so much. And like he has some pretty good ideas too. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of it. I think one of the things that you guys have been so smart about, and I try to do, maybe not. Well, we try. Is if you want people to buy into the crazy idea, you have to ground a lot of it first, right? And so and I think that's one of the things you do the best, because like you were showing me like a lot of these moves, like these long takes they're doing, and a lot of these moves were like Keanu's like reloading the shotgun, and he's doing that special like look at him reload the shotguns in the second movie versus in the third movie, there's this new technique where he's like sliding in all the shells at once. And that was like a real thing that you guys developed and taught and was real. And like, and when you see that, you buy into the reality of it because you know it's not fake. You're watching it happen. And so then when he turns the corner and he shoots and you see a guy fly back like 5 feet and smash into a wall, you buy that version of hyper reality because you grounded it before in such reality. And so with Fortnite, even though it's this colorful, crazy place, we still try pretty hard to ground a lot of it. So it's why you're, even though you're jumping out of a bus flying in the sky, it's still like you're skydiving into this place. And the weapons you pick up are way more like realistic. There's not a lot of like lasers or anything like that. The way you're traveling the world is a little more grounded, so that when we do have, you know, a rift in space-time open up in the sky, or when we do have, like right now, we have these like wind tunnel things that let you zip around the island, you buy that extra extraordinary thing because most of it's actually more grounded. Like you gotta have that contrast or else you lose the audience. It doesn't feel fake. It feels too fake.
And in something like Fortnite, you know, what's interesting is that, you know, you're doing kind of a pretty kind of badass, gritty action film. You're doing, you know, Fortnite, which is kind of bright, colorful, and again, it can still support John Wick without being sort of gritty or gruesome in any way. But you also, like, from a narrative perspective, you know, a lot of the stuff you do, you know, you're not really using a lot of, like, you know, voiceover and things like that, at least right now. It's very sort of, you know, emblematic of sort of, like, characters and locations. But as you see things moving forward, Donald, like, do you get excited about, you know, having, like, the actors more involved or doing, you know, kind of more narrative opportunities that can sort of tie a little bit more into, like, you know, sit down with Chad and say, hey, let's introduce the location and this character. You know, people are wondering what's happened to them in the intervening years. Let's do something in Fortnite. Like, it seems like an opportunity, but I'm curious where you think the property, how it can support
that's
that.
something that we're really thinking about because I think one of the reasons why Fortnite is resonating so well is because one of our key principles is we don't ever take away your agency.
Right.
So meaning that, like, typically when if I'm having a story told to me, like I'm watching John Wick, right? Like I'm invested in the character of John Wick, and I'm involved on an emotional journey. But it's not me. I'm still passively sitting in a seat. Like the second you give me a controller and you say you are Darth Vader. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'm playing as Darth Vader. That means I'm the bad guy, and I do this, and these are the rules of Darth Vader.
Right.
And I worry that no matter how good our graphics get or our ability to like tell the story, that there's always going to be a level of cognitive dissonance between Darth Vader playing that character and my own agency. Because I'm like, what if I don't want to be the bad guy anymore? What if I want to be a Jedi? What if I want to actually just not even, like, I just want to go hang out in Mustafar and, like, I'm sure Darth Vader has a theater room. I just want to, like, chill and, like, watch John Wick. Like,
But Darth Vader could potentially, like, show up in the world,
yes,
right?
For
and
sure.
have a moment in an event,
and so, like,
right?
to me, like, a lot of, like, the reason why, like, characters don't have voices in Fortnite is because we want to say, no, it's not, you are not playing John Wick, you're dressing up as John Wick.
Right.
Or you're doing this, like, we're not taking your agency away. At the end of the day, you still get to be you, and in this place, it's your storytelling. It's how do you want to imprint on the world, and so there's some interesting stuff, I think, for us to figure out of how to, because I'm dying to do more of the, like, traditional narrative. It says, how do we find a way to do it that is still really cool and authentic without removing the agency of the player?
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like something like Continental's an interesting idea, or even having characters, you know, that can show up not as player characters, but as sort of these, you know, NPCs that sort of pop into the world in some way.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that because for you, I think can it become almost a testing ground for ideas as you guys think of, you know, characters and locations and things like that?
I think it's a good litmus test.
Yeah.
For what's hip. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. It's just like, you know, it's like introduce a character, or introduce an idea or a location. And from an action perspective, do you guys ever look at like wanting to, you know, get more involved in like designing action for games and whatnot? Is that appealing?
It depends. There's you know, it's always interesting. It's great. I mean, just the questions that these guys have asked about, you know, do you want to do reloads in video games? What type of guns? Do the guns what kind of ammunition would it go through walls? With like just all the right questions to increase the interactiveness, or like Donald's saying, like agency. Like how do you can choose your own gun, you can choose your own ammunition. Like what's better for what? I think those are all interesting things to do. What car? Why would you select a certain car? Like giving the player more choice and actually being more strategic and smart how they play is fun, other than just getting a car. I think that's really cool. As far as the parameters of it, I'd have to immerse myself much more. They're dealing in a different world with different. I got to deal with physics.
Yep.
They don't have so many problems with physics as I have. And like
No, your stuff is so real, and that's just Donald said. Like it's rooted in reality. It's like wow, they actually had that knife fight where it's like you could do that in Fortnite, but it's like it's
But
no,
it's
and it was
fun.
interesting.
It's
Like
actually fun.
even just like Chad was giving me and our team like a real education in ballistics and in physics and actually the more he was teaching us about how ballistics actually work, the more fantastic it got. You're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know things could actually work that way, and that's how ricocheting would really work. And it's just like it's super inspiring. Like so many ideas. Like, oh, we could do this, and it actually almost makes it more fantastic once you understand how it actually works.
So, I mean, when you think of like, campfire storytelling, which is something Donald's talked a lot about, and using these games as kind of these shared experiences, we're a year later from when we talked, last year, Donald. What have you learned? Is there anything that you sort of like, you thought was going to be where you were going to going, and you've changed direction, or like a year later, like how has your thinking evolved on like what it's like to tell these stories and partner with people and things?
I think I've learned that we have a lot more to learn. Right? I mean, last year it was the beginning of the wild experiment, right? We just had a comet crash into the world and make a big lasting impact, and we were just, I couldn't say it then, but we were starting to tease elements of this rocket being built that would actually be our first big live event where, there were many, many millions of people that watched this thing just take off in game. And what they thought was going to just be a rocket leaving into space ended up being this weird science fiction thing that ends up ripping these tears in the sky. And that was kind of the first, and we've now done several big kind of live events since then. And each one is teaching us a lot more. One of the kind of big crazy ones was this idea of doing a live performance, having Marshmello come basically do a live concert in the world. And, at the time, like when I was talking with, I won't say his real name, when I was talking with Marshmello, with Mello, we were saying, hey, this is like the bleeding edge of technology. We have no idea if it'll actually work, but, we want to put you in a mocap suit and we'll have you on a stage somewhere and
be able to talk
we'll
to
mix
the
a set and we'll have you be able to live talk to an audience of, it was, basically 12 million people in the game watching this event with another 8 to 10 million people watching it, through streaming and stuff, all live in this time frame. Yeah. And that was our big ambition, because I do think talking some of the story elements. Yeah.
It was that shared experience.
It's not
and when you
just
turned off guns and people could just sort of just have a shared moment.
Yes.
Like there was something really powerful.
Yes.
When I was there, I was like, this is,
No, and it
experience.
felt like an experience. And I think when you think about the foundations of what a metaverse could be, I do think that live performance could be part of that. Like, what if, you were in part of the world and all of a sudden you see John Wick running
Big
by
battle.
and having a crazy fight, and it could be canned, but if that was live and it was actually happening and you knew
promoting
Keanu
to that,
was doing that
exactly.
in that moment and it was a real thing, like that's kind of where I think some of the future crazy storytelling could go. But we have to build the tech to do that, right? Because what we did with Mello was the bleeding edge of what could be done, and we have other experiments that we're working on that will hopefully push that further. But I would love it to get to the point in I don't know how many years where we could have hundreds of people being live motion captured into a place at once.
The live action scene.
Yeah, and then just imagine what
Chad.
you could do with that. Imagine, it would be insane, right?
No, and that's the thing is for you, it's like to think of, mocap action. And he said, you do so much rooted in reality, but then to have the fun of, building something like that in Fortnite would be...
It'd be great to cross-reference mediums,
Yeah.
It's all coming. All right, well,
guys... that would be the real campfire, right? It's live in front of you.
No, actually, I think that the shared experience, you said, you have 10, 20 million people all watching something together, and then when you can layer in fiction, and then you get into the reveals and the drama and the twists and all that, and that's the tension, and that's what I think is those moments where you have 20 million people around the world having that shared experience and then having a reveal. of a new character from the universe or something that pops in and then pays off with the film. It's like Donald's smiling because it's all in his head.
That'd be pretty cool. No,
one
I'm
day
just
we'll
saying
get there.
That's good.
He's psyched. All right, well, that's all the time we have. Chad, Donald, thank you so much for joining us here at E3.